So switching gears a little, should a statewide mask mandate be enacted with penalties such as arrest and fines for non-compliance? Lois, do you want to kick that one off?
Sure. I'm in two schools of thought about this. I would like to see a statewide mask mandate with penalties, but how much more can we put on our police force to start with it? We can try. But the other side of it is, you know that this is bad, you should wear a mask. But unfortunately, people have proved that they don't have common sense. So we have to tell them you have to, or it's going to hit you in the pocket. I'm sad that it's really come to this, and putting that burden on to the police force to regulate it and have penalties, but it might be the only way that we can get people to start complying and wear a mask. So yeah, I say we should do a statewide mandate and hit them big in the pocket. Might deter some.
Okay, all right. Lorrie, what do you think?
Well, since businesses were allowed to reopen, of course, part of our reopening is that we wear masks and that we ask all who enter to wear masks. And it is difficult as a business owner to enforce something that is not legislated, that's just recommended. It does cause negative interactions with customers who do not wish to wear a mask and are asked to wear one, and they, and they throw right back in your face. Well, there's no requirement. There's no reason we should. So if they don't believe in it, they won't wear it. And it puts business in a very, very difficult place. So if there were one in place, it would make it a lot easier for business people who, people come into the restaurant without a mask, people come into the business without a mask. You can then say to them, well, it is state requirement. Right now, it's only a recommendation, and recommendations are very difficult. So, I think you either have to make a decision or not. And with the or not, you leave the businesses in a very difficult position. If you make the decision, at least it gives the business people a leg to stand on. When people come into a business, they can say, it's the state regulation. And the people who, and there are many out there who believe in freedom. I don't know when a mask began to represent one's freedom. I put on a bra every day, and I do it because it's the right thing to do. And I put on a mask every day because it's the right thing to do. So I don't know when freedom came into this whole discussion of masks. I really don't. We put on masks because we care about the people around us, and we don't want them to die, and we don't want disease to spread. Why does the doctor at the hospital wear the mask? Because the doctor doesn't want to make you sick. So I think we have to be practical, and we have to realize that if we do legislate it, there will be those who will fight it. And it does create, that sort of conflict, and you have to either be willing to accept it for the greater good and do what needs to be done, or you have to go with a voluntary situation, which, as we know, works to some extent, but it's not perfect either. So in terms of fines, honestly, I don't know how law enforcement could fine every person who walks around without a mask. There are a lot of folks that do, and we know that. So I don't know how you do that. I think you're going to spend a lot of money in law enforcement. It would be nice if there were some leadership at the top who would give some guidance. We don't have that right now.
Dan Felt is for governor. Leslie, did you want to answer the mask question?
Yeah, I do. I think that I'm not opposed to a mask mandate accompanied by role modeling, and I think it would be very, very difficult to enforce any kind of fine or penalty. And I think an effort to do that would probably just make a tense situation more volatile. I think that leading by example. I have been to events where the police haven't been wearing masks, or not wearing them properly, or so I think we have to recognize that we can say it's mandated because it's the right thing to do, and it will keep people safe and keep them healthy. But as far as fining or enforcing, I think that leadership by example and education would be more productive than trying to force someone to wear a mask and tell them they're going to get a fine. I see some real difficulties with that, and I see that making a tense situation worse. And would say I'm fine with the mandate as long as people are following it. People who are role models, people that we would expect to enforce it. So
Dan Feltus for governor.
Well, that's the only way enforced is with Dan. We can't mandate something without an opposite action of there's a punishment if you don't follow through. Because if you just mandate something without an opposite reaction, if I don't do it, I have a punishment, that's just a recommendation.
So that brings up, there's a question in the chat. How do you believe exceptions to the mask mandate should be handled? Or how would that enforcement work?
Well, I was in a store Saturday, and I had my mask on, and I coughed. I was coughing, and the lady it was Lindt chocolate, by the way, and yes, I did get a lot of it. And I said, excuse me. She goes, I know everybody hates to cough. I said, no, I have asthma, and when I've had the mask on for an extended period of time, I just start coughing, it kicks up. And she goes, oh, then you don't need to wear your mask. I go, yeah, I really need to wear my mask because I don't want to get sick. I'd rather be coughing. She goes, no, she goes, people with conditions like yours, we don't enforce you to wear a mask. You're exempt from wearing the mask. And I said, no, because I want to take care of myself. But I was thinking there are probably people out there that legitimately, for some reason, can't wear a mask or for whatever reason. But I think they're rare. And I think if there are exceptions to wearing a mask, then maybe you need to get a doctor's card that says this person, it would be detrimental to this person's health to wear a mask.
I think that having some sort of documentation would certainly help. I just think that the real issue is leadership. The real issue is leadership, and why we could pass a piece of legislation in New Hampshire requiring mask wearing and documentation of a medical condition for an exemption. But I would guess that our current governor would veto it. So, Chris.
All right.
I guess I don't see it as being an easy problem to solve without the leadership setting the example.
I'm hearing a theme in the solutions here for the mask exemption.
Lori,
Dan Felt is for governor.
yeah. Lori, let me just jump in here one quick sec. In my way of thinking, if you really can't wear a mask and it's so bad with COVID and you can't wear a mask, I hate to say it, maybe you should just stay home.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. That's thinking. Lori, do you want to weigh in?
I think we can do, if masks were mandated, you could certainly handle it the same way you handle a handicap parking permit. You can get a, note from your doctor saying that you are physically incapable of wearing a mask. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what that situation would be, which makes you physically incapable of wearing a mask, but I'm sure there are some exceptions out there. Few, but some.